This is a Headgum podcast.
Hello. This is Fake the Nation, where we talk about news, we talk about politics, and where we ring in the season with a bunch of allergies. I am your host, Negin Farsad. And if you were pollen, you probably already know that because you love climbing into my nose. Today, we're going to talk about the moment when you look at a pair of pants that don't fit and wonder, like, should I keep them? And this should apply to everyone listening, unless you're one of our toddler listeners. We'll also talk about the enshitification of internet platforms and how anxious parents are 10xing the problem with their children. Today, I am so excited for this panel. What a great panel we have lined up for you today. Joining us for the first time is the co-host of the Go Touch Grass podcast, which I've been on, which is such a fun pod. And she's so fun and she's so funny because she is the wonderful Alise Morales. Hey, Alise.
Oh, hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
After our lengthy chat about the Glasgow Willy Wonka experience, I'm happy to get into more important news.
Oh, yes, indeed. Like pants. We're also joined for the manyth time. You guys know this guy. You love this guy. It's a Persian sandwich every time he's on the show. He's a comedian. He's an actor. He's a filmmaker. He's one of my co-panelists on Wait, Don't Tell Me. He's also got dates. You could see him on tour in Dallas and Detroit, and you can look at all of his dates on Jobrani.com. So titled because he is the wonderful Jobrani. Hey.
Hi, Negin. How funny would it be if that were your website?
I should have taken it because I think your website probably gets more traffic than mine.
Yeah.
Folks, before we get into the show, I just want to remind listeners that if they want to support the show, they can go to patreon.com/Negin Farsad to support the show. For as little as $4 a month, you get extra episodes. It's so fun. We talk about silly and ridiculous things, and it's where we really let our hair down as a show. So go to patreon.com/Negin Farsad. There's many levels of support. All right, let's get into it with topic number one. Now, in many ways, this is the most important issue that we will have ever talked about on Fake the Nation. We read a piece in the Times called "My Pants No Longer Fit. Should I Get Rid of Them or Keep Them Just in Case?" Now, this is a question alongside climate change solutions that has plagued me my entire life here on planet Earth. Okay. And so my first question to you both is, have you ever looked at a pair of pants and wondered, they don't fit? Should I get rid of them or keep them just in case? And please note that your answers will be recorded for a historical archive that is going into, the Library of Congress. Alise, where do you stand on this issue?
I will say that as soon as you read the title, there were 3 pairs of pants that just flashed before my eyes that are sitting in my closet right now. And I say, is it time? Is it time for them to go? It's tough. I'm a weight fluctuation queen. And so I am always fitting in and out of pants. I have pants of all sizes. All pants are welcome here. So yes, I've been faced with this question many a time. I try to be better about getting rid of things that I'm keeping in kind of this weird, like, aspirational, but one day type of way. But sometimes they're a pair of pants that I really loved, and maybe I'm holding on to them for the memories. They're nostalgia pants.
Maz, do you have any nostalgia pants? Do you have pants that are just straight up your enemies that you keep lying around? Like, what's your relationship with this?
I have never kept a pair of pants for nostalgia. I'm not that into my pants. But that said, once in a while, I will have a situation where I haven't worn a suit in a while, and then I will try to put the suit on, and the pants are a little tight. And then I see that as a challenge to lose that
French
weight.
challenge.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
French challenge to slim down a little bit and fit back into that suit. And sometimes I succeed and sometimes I don't. But that's the only reason I would keep it around, is because when you're ready for doing your little intermittent fasting or something, and then you can really test it and go, oh, wow, it actually works. So
Yeah.
that's the only reason you keep old pants, in case you want to test to see if intermittent fasting works.
So we have nostalgia pants, we have intermittent fasting pants. We're really like, I feel like, innovating the pants categories on this show today, and I'm really impressed with us. First of all, I love clothes. I wear them every day. Okay. I'm not, that's just my thing. But I really I'm a clothes horse. I love fashion. I love all of that stuff. And so for me, this like really struck at the very core of my soul, because I have saved a lot of pants that don't fit, in a way, in a torturous way, I think, mostly. I mean, I've also saved some pants in the other direction that are too big for me, because and it's funny because these pants, all of them, are telling a story. And one of the stories is you used to eat a lot of bagels and then you cut bagels out, right? And so that's a story. And so it's like, do I keep those? Is there some interesting, because for the fashion of it, I feel like I keep some things. There's another story that pants have told, which is that you did IVF and it was traumatizing, and your body went through 17 different sizes in the course of a year and a half. Bless your heart, you survived and you have a child. So that's another story these pants are telling. There's, and then there's just like, you were trying to look like Bjork, you did some crazy shit. What were you thinking? Maybe you should keep them because that was a weird phase and they look like swans, and Alise is looking at me like I have those.
That is resonating with me, because I feel like to even move it away from a size conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, okay, these pants aren't in style now. But what if they come back and suddenly these are the most fashionable pants anyone's ever seen?
Yes.
And I got rid of the pants.
Right.
Should I cling to my skinny jeans as a millennial woman?
Maybe they should have just a pants storage space, just the space for pants. Like you have storage for everything else, then you get storage for pants. And you go to the pants storage warehouse, and you have all your pants from all these years are there, and then you don't have to throw them away.
Yeah,
I'm seeing this side hustle for you. How's Jobrani's pants storage warehouse?
I'm telling you, there's something there.
Subway ad.
I know. Well, it's funny because I've been driving. I've been like on a subway or maybe in a cab. I've seen these like huge ads for Manhattan storage along the side of like the FDR or something, and they're very political. Like they're like, yes. They're like, both of these guys are old, and it'll be like, it'll be like Trump and Biden on these ads. And it's like, you don't use them, put them both in storage or something like that. I don't know. I'm like fucking up the ad. But first of all, I was like, this is remarkably political for a storage unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't usually think
takes a stand.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I just really don't think of like storage units as having too much of a political like ideology. But yes, but I love the idea of like, because it's funny. And I think my husband has a graveyard of pants he doesn't wear that he keeps because he's like, no, but I'm going to go back to being a size 32. And I'm like, but it's been like 8 years. Like, do you think maybe you're just like you're like, you're not ever going to be a 32 anymore? And he's like, that's insane. And I'll talk to you later, and like, and then it's just like this just like stack of pants. So I feel like it's for him because he was quite skinny, and I just think he can't like let go of that image of himself, so I feel
for guys I think we're you want the 6-pack abs, And the hope is that later on in life, when you're old and dying,
You'll
you
have
you
time.
yeah, you get the six on the way out. You get one final selfie for your Instagram page. You're like, I did it, and then I fit into my size
You're like
32 pants.
you're like 92 and you're fitting into your 32 pants. Yeah, I think that's what I think he's like, no. Like when my kid is like older, I'm gonna have all of the abs back and I'm gonna, yeah. I think he just keeps thinking like that's gonna happen.
He's
And I
prepping for his
think
midlife crisis.
very exciting for me. I
Yeah,
hope
I will.
maybe he'll have a motorcycle.
yeah.
I will sometimes get in a headspace too where I'm like, perhaps my fashionable daughter will want the pants.
Oh, I've done that as well. I've done that as well because
My
I have taken
imaginary
clothes from my mom.
fashionable daughter.
Yes.
Exactly, right? Like sometimes I did get really cool stuff from my
Yes.
mom.
Oh my God, I got
when-
amazing like stuff from the 80s, like crazy like fucking shoulder pad dresses and stuff from my mom. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So then I have this imaginary fashionable daughter who in the future is gonna want the pants.
Yeah. Yeah. Folks, I would like to know where you stand on this critical issue. Like I said, among the top 5 most important things we've talked about on the show. Next to climate change, maybe second, maybe climate change is second to this. Well, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue talking. And we are back, and we're ready for topic number 2. I just want to remind listeners that we're actually taping this show much earlier than we normally tape a show. So if you're thinking that we're going to address the political issue du jour this week, we're actually not going to do that because we're taping too early to do that. But something did happen last week that I think we should turn our attention to, which is that Gmail turned 20. And it felt like a milestone in internet history. And honestly, I hardly know anyone who doesn't use Gmail. So my question is, we're going to then kind of go generally and talk more about the internet. But first, have you ever looked at Gmail and thought you've outlived your service? And like, what is your relationship? Maz, do you have Gmail? What's your relationship with Gmail?
Yeah, I when I read that article, it reminded me that I did have Gmail. I'd forgotten I had Gmail. I mean, I have these 2 Gmail accounts because I had the guy who set up my website said you can do it where you can take another email that you want and have that go through your Gmail. So that's the main email I use. So I never see it as Gmail. And then I've got a second Gmail page that's just Gmail. And when I read the article, I totally remembered, just like the guy was saying in the article, a guy or girl, I don't know who did it. But they basically were saying how they have so much stuff in that Gmail folder and it's mostly junk, and it would take an eternity to delete it. So that's what my Gmail is sitting there for. It used to be the Gmail was the Gmail address was the one I would give out for signing up for stuff because I knew they were going to be emailing me, junk stuff. So and now junk has gone beyond. We all know, like I think I donated once or twice to some campaign, and now every political party hits me up. Like I was saying, like I almost wish we lived in a dictatorship, just so I didn't get the political emails.
Yeah.
The texts too. I know this is an email conversation, but the texts are getting crazy. I get texts every day that are like, help! And I'm like, oh my God. What's happening? And then they're like, it's Kamala Harris. And I'm like, okay, stop.
Well, we're going to get to that in a second. I want to hear your thoughts on Gmail because we got a listener email about the text. So I do want to hear your thoughts on that. But Alise, do you Gmail turned 30? Does it feel like, is it something that still gives?
It turned 20. You said 30. It turned 20. You said
20.
30.
Sorry.
Gen
20,
Z.
20. Sorry.
Gmail is Gen Z. I live a freelance life, so I have so many Gmails. It's kind of ridiculous. They're not all at Gmail. They're like my email for every weird company that I work for, and then my personal Gmail. So I'm constantly toggling between various Gmails and like Gmail affiliated accounts, but I will say it is kind of a thrill sometimes when you get an email from one of the oldies, a Yahoo or a Hotmail pops in and you're like, okay.
Vintage. Yeah.
Okay. The fonts are going to be all crazy. It's got no subject. You're like, this is going to be a ride.
Well, I mean, I feel this. So the piece that Maz was referring to is by Ezra Klein in the New York Times, and it was like this weird. I mean, it was this beautifully written. It was like some of the best writing I've ever heard about email. But here's something that he said in there that I thought was really interesting. He said, I have thousands of photos of my children, but few I've set aside to revisit. I have records of virtually every text I've ever sent since I was in college, but no idea how to find the ones that meant something. I spent years blasting my thoughts to millions of people on X and Facebook, even as I fell behind on correspondence with dear friends. I have stored everything and saved nothing. And I think for me, really be right, like a beautiful thought. And that is how I feel about my Gmail. It is this bloated, horrible albatross. I will never get to its depths. No amount of scuba gear can get me to the bottom of the vast ocean that is the unread emails, and they just build, and I pay some amount of storage fee every month because that's how crazy it's gotten, and I would need several weeks to figure it out, or I do what Ezra Klein did and shut it down and fucking move on to a new address, which I don't know that I'm prepared to do that either.
I know. I was like, that shook me. I was like,
I know.
My emails, my ancient emails.
But my ancient emails, the fucking scrolls that I've got. And the funny thing is, my mom, who also has Gmail, she calls me a couple weeks ago, and she's like, there are no emails in my Gmail. And I'm like, what do you mean? And then I open up her Gmail because I'm trying to figure it out. You know, she's a senior citizen. She's not great with technology. And literally, Gmail has erased everything.
What?
Don't know why, don't know how, right? And it's possible it's my mom's user error, but like, I don't even know that she would know how to erase everything. Like, you know what I mean? It's just truly everything is gone. And the interesting thing is, she was like flummoxed for a moment, but it essentially didn't matter to her because nothing of value does she maintain on email.
What if you found out that your mother? What if you found out that your mother's a spy and the Russians hacked in? And you're treating her like she's a senior citizen, doesn't know what she's doing. Meanwhile, she's trying to lure you into helping her in her mission, whatever it is.
Oh my God, she's in the Americans real life version. I didn't even think about that, Maz.
Think about that, Negin. Think about that.
In a new perspective that I really have to think about. She is Iranian, so she's fucking already shifty.
I don't trust your mom. That's all I'm saying. I don't trust your mom.
Okay, well let's talk about so we talked about Gmail, but I wanted to generally talk about this concept that was coined by Cory Doctorow called the enshitification of the internet. And he talked about like basically the enshitification of platforms. We experienced it very particularly with Facebook and with Amazon. So what happens, like we'll use Amazon as the case, that Cory Doctorow makes, which is that, for example, Amazon in its early years for 10 years or so subsidized your purchases. You know, they made the prices really, really low. They made shipping free, blah, 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 so that you would get addicted to Amazon. And then throughout that process, other retailers started shutting down. Amazon became increasingly the only place to go. And then, which is, I'm exaggerating because there's still plenty of other places to go in real life. But then it also started to work on sellers. That's phase two. You work on sellers. You get we're going to subsidize. We're going to like reduce the commissions. We're going to be the best place for you to like do your selling. They do that, and then all the sellers that's chained to you. And then the third phase is now we're going to raise prices. Now we require payola. Now, if you want to sell something, you have to pay extra money to get it on page 1 of our research results. Now, if you're a buyer and you want to buy a spatula, we're going to give you 40 things that aren't necessarily the spatula that you're asking for, because all these sellers are paying to be on the top search results. And then your experience as a person on Amazon, as a seller on Amazon, starts to deteriorate, but then you feel like you have nowhere else to turn. They're the only game in town. And you're just experiencing the enshitification of a platform. What do you think about, I mean, does this trajectory resonate with you? And do you feel like you're experiencing it more and more?
Capitalism sucks. This is the whole thing of trickle down theory, trickle down economics, right? Where they go, oh, the people that are rich are going to look out for the people that aren't rich. I mean, the fact is, people that are rich are going to look out for themselves and want more boats, so they're going to do things like this, and we all kind of go along, and then you get screwed, and then you don't have any options, and that's why you need regulations. But regulations are always like 100 years behind, and so we end up in this situation. I mean, I don't know what I'm paying right now on Amazon because it's still so convenient to buy stuff on there. But I do know that I got these little Charlie Bear treats for the dog, and I was ordering them on Amazon for about $10 or so a packet. And I was at the coffee shop with this guy that I see, some of the regulars at the coffee shop, and the guy's like, "Oh, you get this from Trader Joe's?" I go, "No, I get them on Amazon." He goes, "How much you pay?" I go pay like 10, 11. He goes, "Oh, they're only $3 at Trader Joe's." I was like, "What?
My God.
I'm paying $8, $9 for some dude to deliver to me." So yes, we're getting screwed, people. We're getting screwed. Yeah.
Not even a dude, a drone, like a robot to bring it to you, basically.
Yeah.
Like for more. Right, they make you think that now this is the best deal, this is the best thing, and then you've created your, I remember hearing people talk about I generally don't do online shopping, so that's my weird position, which is increasingly unusual. But I remember, friends of mine were saying, well, I like to know my purchase history, and I was like, oh, but then I was like, but fucking why? Who cares? Also, who cares? I don't know. I just felt like that was one of the crazier things that I had heard about, really defending their kind of online purchasing. But it does, right? I mean, we saw it with Facebook, right? Alise, that Facebook deteriorated before our very eyes. I mean, what does it
totally.
where does it leave you? Do you feel like are you like, I will break off and go to another platform that nobody's on? Or what does it make you feel?
I did break away from Facebook. That I actually did do. I feel like it's happening with Instagram before our very eyes once again, which I think it's a slightly different situation with the social media companies, where in order to compete with whatever new thing is up, so TikTok in the case of Instagram, they're like, okay, we need you to be posting videos, and we need you to be posting videos every single day. And if you're not posting videos every single day, all of the stuff that you enjoyed about this app is going to plummet. Your followers aren't going to see what you're posting. Your engagement's going to go down. Your reach is going to go down, et cetera, et cetera. And because I worked in the Instagram influencer space for a really long time, I feel like I've seen it very specifically where they will just change the algorithm to fit whatever goal they have. And you as a person who, I'm not an influencer who makes money on the app, but there are people who that's their business.
Yeah.
It's either their actual business as an influencer or their small business or whatever. And they'll just change it and be like, sorry, you got to make 10 videos a day now, or no one's going to see your shit. And, it's also very insidious, I feel, because they feel no responsibility for the people who actually create their platform, or for the people who have built businesses on their platform. And then with the Amazon example, I feel like Uber is doing that.
Oh, right. Uber was also another example that Cory Doctorow talked about, because Uber subsidized your rides in the early days. It felt very cheap. So then yellow cabs fell out of favor. I mean, obviously yellow cabs are specific to certain cities, but in general, other forms of transportation or investment in public transportation fell out of favor because Uber seemed like such a cheap option. And then they pull the rug out because venture capital is now we need to see profit. So then they start boosting the prices, seeing profit, and then the entire experience changes.
Totally.
And now I feel like one out of every, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm a yellow cab person 95% of the time, but when I'm in other cities, I'll use Uber or Lyft or whatever, and I feel like, I mean, in some weird number of times, a ride gets canceled, and like I don't understand why or whatever, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like reliable, and like why
Yeah.
is this happening?
Yeah, I mean, I just noticed the price go up an enormous amount.
Enormous
Yeah,
amount.
in New York, like, if I can catch a yellow cab, I definitely will. But they don't. I live in Brooklyn, and they're not like around
Yeah,
to be hailed in the same
yeah.
way as like Manhattan. So, and Brooklyn's not really well connected by public transit either. Thank you, Robert Moses. That's my other soapbox. I can't even get into that. But so I started really using Ubers a lot to get around within Brooklyn. And now I have just noticed the price went crazy. And it's not like I'm getting a different service. I'm still going to the same places, but it's maybe even like double the price.
And by the way, when they have you signed up, whether it's Uber, Amazon, whatever, I'm not paying attention as much to the pricing until later, because you're just like, yeah, hit click, yeah, whatever, tip, sure, yeah, blah, blah, blah. So it's very, it is insidious in many ways. And the thing you were talking about, Alise, with Instagram and stuff, it feels fickle. Like that's the other thing is it's so changing so fast every time. Like I tried to get into TikTok, they go, now TikTok wants you to do horizontal videos. I was like, but I've just started doing vertical videos. Like, why would you want a horizontal? And then I tried a few horizontal, and I'm like, this looks horrible because it's just stand up now from a distance. Like people can't see it, but they wanted it, and it was getting like it would get more views, but it wouldn't get that much engagement. So I was like, they're just pushing it out to get views, but there's no one's commenting on it. So the quality of what I'm putting out is not as good as I want it to be. So it really is this world where, and then try to reach people. Like I had a whole thing where Facebook had like demonetized me because it said that I'd violated something, and then we tried to find somebody. I had to like reach out to my agents and friends that I knew that knew people at Facebook. It was just, and then I still didn't know what I'd done. It's very fickle. It's very much kind of the Wild West, and they can turn on the spigot and turn it off whenever they want. And it's just, it really is. I mean, if you step back and start analyzing it, you're like, what am I doing? Why am I on these stupid things?
What am I doing? Yeah. Exactly. That's how I feel. The enshitification does feel like it's happening like sort of across the internet. Let's quickly address the text messages from the different parties. Now, Robin from Nashville emailed us and said that she gets multiple text messages every day asking for money. She basically points out she can't figure out how she got on these lists. She's deleted hundreds. She oftentimes can't figure out how to get off of the list because there are different phone numbers that pop in. She actually also gets texts from the Trump side. And the funny thing is my husband my husband has tried to get off of the Trump list. I mean, he doesn't know why he got on them, right? He's like married to me. And he, like, every day, Don Jr., every day, some other phone number, but it's me, it's Don Jr., and this, and they're insane. Like, they're so insane. And he can't get off of it. And I mean, I don't know. Basically, Robin was sort of like, am I alone, or is this like happening to everyone? And also, like, do we know, in her concern is like, are some of these scams, like, or is it literally like operatives are using this tactic? Because she felt like sometimes people may have been maybe taking the money and then putting it elsewhere. So I don't have any intel on that yet, and I have to do a lot more research, but I'm wondering, like, how ruinous have the text messages been for you guys?
I get so many.
Go ahead.
I get so many, and I do think that Ben Sheehan, who is like kind of an influencer in the political space, and he like does a lot of stuff on Instagram. I believe he looked into this, and some of them are scams. Like, they're not real. They don't go to real organizations or like what they purport to go to, and it's really hard to actually figure out which ones are real. And like a lot of the ones I get will be for organizations I've never heard of. I'm like, how did you get my number? I reply stop to all of them, but it never stops.
It doesn't stop. Yeah.
Well, Alise, let's not forget that even what's quote unquote real is a scam. All the money that Trump raised is going to his court. So it's a scam regardless.
True.
And I think, Negin, it's like, if you donated once or twice or whatever on one of these lists, then you get on all the lists. And just like you said, I get stuff from like Ted Cruz, I get stuff from Donald Trump, like people that I really just I despise. And then if you go on X or Twitter or whatever the hell it's called now, that's even worse because I'm constantly seeing stuff from the side that I don't want to hear from. And I'm getting stuff from the side that I do want to hear from. But at the same time, I'm like, geez, how much money am I going to give? And then in the back of my mind, there's always this thing of like, oh my God, if I don't give and we lose, I'm really going to regret this.
Yes, it makes me feel guilty all the time.
Yeah.
Instead of some of the, like, it's like the guilt never relents because anytime I pick up my phone, there's likely to be a text, right? And so it feels like this constant drumbeat of guilt and fear and guilt and fear. And like, I don't want to do that drumbeat, guys. Is that healthy for any of us? So talk about the enshitification. Like this feels like part of it. So I think, but Alise, you bring up a really excellent point, which is that if you have serious intentions of donating money, you should do it through a website, through a trusted source, like if it's Act Blue or Swing Left or whatever, like something that you know to be going to the places where you want it to go to. I feel like the text messaging has gone so out of control. It cannot be, it just can't. Yeah, you can't believe in it.
And again, wouldn't it be great if we lived in a society where they said instead of having something like Citizens United, where these corporations are spending, millions and millions, and then you and I are, us three have to donate enough to try and counter the donation from some, from the Koch brothers. Wouldn't it be great if there was just a society where it was like, all right, each side is going to get this much allotted to them, and you can raise X, Y, and Z amount, and that's it, and then we go. I mean, it's like that would be a society that's taking care of its citizens.
And by the way, that society, it's called Japan. I've talked about the Japanese election system before. They have just a very specific amount of money you're allowed to spend. The posters all have to be one size. The banners have to be a particular blah, blah, blah. It's like, so everything is regimented, so you can't go off script. You can't introduce a ton of money. It's everyone gets the same exact fucking thing. Take a look at Japan. I'm sure they do a ton of things terribly, but this one thing, I think they're doing quite well.
If only Japan were real.
All right, let's move on to topic number 3. Okay, sure. Kids are anxious. Students all over college campuses are anxious, among other mental health challenges. And in fact, in 2022, nearly 14% of 18 to 25-year-olds reported having serious thoughts about suicide. But it's possible that parents are even worse. We read a piece from a psychiatrist on a college campus who talks about the parents and how they rarely accept that some anxiety is normal. They blow it out of proportion and make things worse. Now, Maz, you're a parent. What did you think reading this piece?
I mean, they're right. I mean, there's a lot of anxiety, especially around college now. There was some Instagram page. I mean, again, the unfortunate thing about social media is that we have so many people with so many different takes on things, and everyone can do whatever they want. And so, but they don't think necessarily about the results. There was a guy, and he would sit on this Instagram page, and I guess he was well-intentioned, but he was trying to tell parents how hard it is to get into college. So he'd be reading the applications of people who go, okay, this kid had a 4.9 and played the trombone and was the star athlete and this, and this. And they didn't get into their top 10 schools, this school, this school, this school, this school. And, parents watching this are going, oh my God, my kid's not going to go to college. I mean, it just rises the anxiety. And my take as someone who really took the road less traveled, where I studied something completely differently and ended up becoming a comedian, I'm like, it's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay, no matter what happens. And your kid will find their way, whether they get a degree from Harvard or they don't get a degree at all, or they, whatever. It's just chill. But it's a lot easier said, and parents do freak out. And I think that the modern society really feeds it, and it's not healthy at all.
Yeah, I mean, what was interesting to me about this piece was like thinking about my own college experience, which is that my parents had exactly no involvement in any of it. Like my parents didn't know what I was doing, what I was taking, what I was majoring in, what like specifically what part of campus do I live or what kind of classes, like nothing. My parents were not involved. Not to say my parents don't love me. They just didn't. They were just like, well, she's like doing a thing and she's got to grow up and fucking do it. You know what I mean? They were just like that. What are we going to do? Like, this is ridiculous. What, get involved? That's crazy. I don't know. Alise, what did you think about these anxious parents?
It's so tough because I do feel like on the one hand, I feel for the kids of today and that they like have dealt with, they had to go to school in the pandemic and all of us went a little kooky. I don't think any of us came out of that unscathed. So the heightened level of anxiety, I understand. And then also this fear from parents that's like, oh my God, my kid has been damaged by this thing that I have no control over and I have to protect them and I have to make sure that I have to save the experience that I thought that they were going to have. I have to save the life that I thought that they were going to have. But kind of to Maz's point, like, it's gonna be okay, and I do think that I feel like we're seeing a real shakeup in how college is perceived and how kids want to pursue college. And I think that might be difficult for some parents, especially of like the millennial Gen X generations where we were told like, you gotta go, you gotta get into the best school you possibly can. What you study there sets the tone for the rest of your life. And like, that is how you succeed. But I think what we have also seen is that that's not really what panned out. So I think taking some of the pressure off of that is probably a good idea. I majored in Spanish and I don't speak Spanish. I didn't then and I don't now. So
yeah, I mean, and I think like the writer said it best of the piece that we saw. I think it was in the Times. Matilda Ross says, quote, I worry that the current obsession with mental health awareness is disempowering parents from helping their adult children handle ordinary things. And so, yeah, I think you're right, Alise. It's like this, trying to save the experience, mold it in the way they see best or whatever. And it's like, you do have to like recognize that your kid, a friend of mine has an 8-year-old that she let him, go buy something from a bodega that was like 3 blocks away on his own. And by the, just for New Yorkers out there, like this is very not done right now. Like, it's very, very, but she's like, I'm trying to build a fucking independent person. Mm-hmm. I was running around the streets of New York as an 8-year-old. This fucking kid needs to do this, and she's like, so she was like pretty, and I was like, this is interesting. And it really made me feel like, oh my God, I don't want to like keep my kid dependent on me, and it really opened my eyes. And then reading this piece, and I was like, all right, I also need to calm down as the parent of a younger child.
It is so tough too, because like, I remember growing up and like I got a phone in like 8th grade or whatever, but I didn't even always have it on me and stuff. Like me and my friends would be like loose running around the neighborhood, like terrorizing shopping centers of all stripes. And we were okay. But then a lot of times, like I for whatever reason, I think TikTok thinks I'm a mom, but I get all this stuff that's like, there's a lot of really anxiety making stuff on there that's like, it'll be like a woman in her car who's like, I was almost snatched at Walmart. Someone came up and they asked me a question and I could tell they were trying to snatch me. Or like, if someone puts a napkin on your car door, it's actually poison and they're trying to get you. It's like there's so much stuff
like that,
to scare you. That's like someone is gonna try to snatch you. They're gonna snatch your kid. They're gonna poison you with a napkin. Like it's just,
it's endless.
I get why people feel scared.
Yeah.
You gotta let them, like we let our kids start biking around the pandemic, and then they would bike around town. And LA is not the best place to bike, but we still would say, okay, go when you get there. Text us, when you're coming back, text us. They ran into a couple situations where they felt like somebody was going to try and steal their bike or something. But those are all good things. My son now in LA has been taking the bus. So I think ultimately little steps like that, you got to let them try it, and either they succeed or they might end up in a child labor camp in China. But I mean, that's fine. I mean, these things happen, you know. I mean, that's part of their story. That's their story. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Great. They need some content for their upcoming solo shows. You
I'm
know?
just saying,
Exactly.
yeah.
All right, folks, let me know. Did you end up at a Chinese labor camp? Hit us up on the internet, the enshitified internet. Folks, that is the end of the show. Oh my God, I'm so glad I got to spend this time with you. You're both so gosh darn smart and delightful. And I would love for people of Fake the Nation to be able to find you and all the wonderful things that you do. Alise Morales, where do they do that?
Yes. Okay. First and foremost, you can listen to the Go Touch Grass podcast and follow us on all socials at Go Touch Grass Pod. And then you can find me on Instagram at Pandalise and on TikTok at Alise Navidad, where I'm making my trad wife content.
Maz Jobrani, where do they find you?
I have a special on YouTube. It's called The Birds and the Bees. It's free. You don't even have to watch it. Just hit play and walk away, so that the algorithm thinks you're watching it. I'm also touring all over the country, mazjobrani.com, and I'm on all the social media at Maz Jobrani, MazJobrani.
Folks, you know where to find me and all the stuff that I do at Negin Farsad on all of the platforms. And also, I'm going to be in Williamsport, Pennsylvania on May 4th. So if you happen to be in town, I'm part of a really fantastic show in Williamsport, which is like one of these lovely towns that people visit when the weather is nice and frolic. I am also going to be in Chicago doing Wait Wait at some point. I'm going to be doing a bunch of dates in other tours that are going to be coming up. So I will continue to alert you when I know what I'm doing. But in the meantime, I would like to thank everyone who makes the show a possibility. That's our wonderful producer, Andrew McGuire, everyone at Headgum. Thanks to Gaby for writing our theme music. If you have any questions or concerns, you can email us at fakethenationpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to support us at patreon.com/Negin Farsad. Don't forget to write and review the show on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, because it really does help people find the show. And otherwise, we'll be back in your earballs next week.
That was a Headgum podcast.